Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liz. I write books. These are the books I've currently written. Vampire's Fall, which is a dark romance, like dark fantasy romance, and then the Hamilton House Hauntings Book 1, Friends and Phantoms, which is a middle grade paranormal cozy mystery with a sequel coming out next September. So today's video is something kind of new that I'm trying out. It's called The Story Graveyard, where ideas go to die. So basically this is the first video in the series, and I'm just going to go through a series, like a book series idea that I had fleshed out and I will probably never use. So if anyone would like to use it, feel free. DM me if you do use it because I would love to read it. But yeah. Let's just dive right in. So the series is called Once Upon a Twisted Tale. If you've seen Once Upon a Time, it's basically that, but in book form. So the first book is called The Poison Apple. I kind of put the genre, which is young adult fantasy, and it's a tragedy. For the Bizac codes, for some of these I put Bizac codes, for some of them I didn't. This one would be dark fantasy, dark romance, fiction, fantasy, you know. I didn't put the tropes in this one because I never wrote it, so I'm not quite sure what the tropes are. But basically, getting into the story, the main character gets engaged to a mine worker who made her a pair of diamond slippers as an engagement present. They get married, she gets pregnant, he dies to a dragon. She trades her firstborn for the power to avenge her lost love. She ends up giving birth to twins, a boy and a girl. She gives up her son to Rumpelstiltskin, whose name she does not know at that time. Years pass, and she trades the slippers to a fairy for the chance to find love again. She ends up kissing a frog who turns into the king of the land. She marries the king and raises his daughter as well as her own. The king's daughter, Snow White, grows to hate the main character and runs away. The main character sends the huntsman to retrieve the princess, but he comes back with the heart and says that he found her dead. She checks her magic mirror and finds out that Snow is living with some of the mine workers. They're talking about ways to kill the queen and her daughter. Horrified, the main character locks her daughter away in a tower and puts her under a sleeping curse until someone with good intentions can enter the room, and only someone who loves her can awake her. The main character makes a poison apple and goes to Snow, who's tricked into eating it. The queen is later approached by a still living Snow and killed. So that's the first book. The second book in the series is also a young adult fantasy, but this one's a romance. So this one is dark fantasy, romance, and friends to lovers. And it's The Crack Slipper. So the story opens with the fairy godmother assigned to Cinderella. She watches over the girl as she is bullied by her stepmother and stepsisters. She sees how excited the girl is for the ball and formulates a plan. She meets with a young woman who has diamond slippers and trades them for a wish. The shoes were made by love and hold magic. Once she has the shoes, she goes to Cinderella only to find her crying and wearing torn clothes. The main character appears and offers her assistance. Cinderella asks her fairy godmother to accompany her to the dance. The two have a fun night and the diamond shoes glow when the two are close to one another. The main character is called away and meets a boy who is raised by dark magic. He asks for a wish. And she says that he has too much darkness around him for her to grant him a wish without something in exchange. She offers him a map to a magical item that may be able to help him. When she returns to the party, Cinderella is dancing with the prince. Her heart aches, but she leaves again so Cinderella can have fun. The ending is unknown for this one, but eventually the fairy godmother and Cinderella end up together. I'm thinking maybe the prince, maybe Cinderella is sad that the fairy godmother never came back and approaches her, and the two share like a kiss or something, and the prince finds out and he's all angry. But Cinderella doesn't love the prince, so she tells him that, and tells him that maybe she gives the prince the slippers next, and tells her that they will glow whenever someone he loves is near, or something like that. And then he ends up finding out that he is in love with maybe a maid or something like that, and then the maid becomes the next queen or princess or whatever, and then Cinderella and the fairy godmother live happily ever after. The next book is a young adult fantasy. I don't know what the BISAC codes for this one would be, but it's about the boy that the fairy godmother approached at the end of the second book. So this one is about the evil queen's son. The evil queen's son was raised by a man who was known for his dark magic skill. He trained the boy in it. So this is Rumpelstiltskin, is the man who raised him. The boy would always ask questions about his mother and could sense another part of him was missing, his sister. The man never gave him answers. After getting fed up with not receiving answers, he called upon a fairy to make a wish. She was unable to help him, but gave him a map. Following the map, he found his way to a lamp with a genie. The genie granted his wish and told him about his mother, who was now dead, and his sleeping sister. The boy wished for passage to his sister. Once there, he awoke her, and the curse was broken. It is revealed that the sister has light magic. When Rumpelstiltskin comes to kill them, to them to kill the sister, the brother wishes to know how to kill the man. It is revealed that he is a fairy named Rumpelstiltskin, and that one can only kill a fairy by combining dark and light magic and chanting the fairy's name. The twins do this and then go on to avenge their mother's death by defeating Snow and taking over the kingdom. The next book in the series is a young adult fantasy called The Pearl Shell. It is dark fantasy, romance, enemies to lovers. I never actually planned this one out, but essentially Ariel or the Little Mermaid, whoever. I don't know if Ariel is taken or if that is the Little Mermaid's original name. I would have to look into that. But essentially the Little Mermaid goes to the Sea Witch and wants legs. And once up on land, she meets the prince and starts falling in love. The Sea Witch is jealous by this because she has fallen in love with Ariel's or the Little Mermaid's voice. So she also goes up on land, and disguised as a human girl and tries to win over the Little Mermaid's heart. At the end of the story, it is revealed that Ursula is the woman and the Little Mermaid is hurt but still loves her, and the two get married and live on land. The next book in the series is The Golden Feather. This is a young adult fantasy. This one has the least amount of detail for me to know. Essentially, it would be a story about like the golden goose or the golden egg, and it's kind of taking the golden goose and putting them into one story. So it's a girl who is cursed to turn into a golden goose by night and be human by moonlight and be a goose that lays golden eggs by day. So when the prince discovers her, he falls in love with her human form, but he mostly loves like her eggs. And I don't quite know how I'm going to work it out, but like he ends up being defeated by her and maybe like a servant in the castle, and the two of them end up running away together. Because the king only cared for her eggs, not so much her, whereas the servant boy or servant girl cared for her and not the eggs, and that love broke the curse, and she no longer turned into a swan or a goose. And a little bonus for this video, there was a fan fiction I tried writing called The Wolf and the Beast. It was a Wattpad fan fiction. I only started like the first chapter, but I don't think I ever posted it. But it was a young adult fantasy retelling. Essentially, the story was the story opened with 2 epilogues. The first one was of a cruel duchess who was not so nice to her servants, and one of them cursed her. And the second was of a young man getting bitten by a wolf. The story would begin from the man's POV. He is cursed to be a werewolf. He used this curse to help him hunt for his family, but then his younger sister follows him and his wolf form scares her. He chases her to a mansion in the woods. The girl meets the beast, who is angry because the girl ruined her garden. The male main character offers to take responsibility, and the main female character accepts. The two slowly get close, sharing moments where he scratches behind her ears and teaches her to hunt. One night he locks himself in his room so she doesn't have to witness him transform on a full moon. She ends up breaking down the door and finds out the truth anyway. The story ends with them breaking one another's curses and living happily ever after. They welcome new servants into their home, as well as the male main character's family. And that is all of it. But yeah, that is the first video in the story idea graveyard. Let me know if you like this video, if you want to see more videos where I talk about book ideas that I'm probably never going to use. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!